Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Wendy Bendoni, and I am a marketing professor. I am also a digital culture researcher. And today we are going to be talking about reinvention, about how we think, adapt, and lead ourselves into this world of AI as it keeps transforming unprecedentedly our industries. Whether you're looking to enter into the workforce or repositioning yourself within the company, I created this presentation to kind of help you reshape your mind and kind of figure out where you should start. As a researcher, as well as an educator, as well as a practicing consultant, I've explored many different industries and watched continuously over the last couple of decades in regards to this new wave of technology. After pouring through this research, I pulled together some key things that I believe will be helpful to you. Now, once again, this is not a tech talk. This is about your contribution, your value, and your own strategic plan as you position yourself into this AI landscape. So let's start with this. 100 million AI users in 2 months for ChatGPT. And this was one of the fastest platforms in history to grow. Now, what does this mean? So, today, if you're not learning how to use it, someone else already is, and that is your competition. So, how are you staying ahead of this transformation? Think back. When was the last time you heard about AI? Corporate meeting, conference, casual conversation with friends. I bet the word AI has come up at least 5 times today. It's just not a buzzword anymore. It actually is something that we need to learn how to apply and how this is going to affect our industry. So, as we move forward, what I want to kind of step back and say is that when you are looking at how these different tools and how AI, which is a kind of big umbrella around industries, how it's affecting your particular industry. So let's talk first about chat. So, worldwide, chat has over 2.5 billion prompts being done every single day. 2.5. In the US alone, that's 330 million prompts daily. Just 8 months ago, this was at a billion. So, as a digital marketer as well, I am now looking at what people are prompting as opposed to searching. AI is becoming the backbone of business and business strategy. 78% of global companies are already using AI, and it's projected to be 92% in the next 2 to 3 years. AI, as it continues to mold, whether it's in design, supply chain, finance, HR, it's automating routine work, surfacing things that we've seen on the surface, it's happening faster. But as you keep going down, you see the trickle down effect. The World Economic Forum predicts a net increase of 78 million jobs by 2030. So, here, this is what people sometimes miss. AI isn't just replacing jobs, it's actually creating new jobs. McKinsey projects 20 to 15 million new roles will be produced by AI or the roles around AI. So, as this change and as we look forward, I love this quote and this thought process. So, change is the process by which the future invades our lives. It is important to look at it closely, not merely from the grand perspective of history, but also from the vantage point of living, breathing individuals who are experiencing it. And that is exactly what we're doing. So it's not about what AI will do, it's about what you will do with AI. I have found with this is that I wanted to figure out exactly how I would use it, both for teaching, education, digital marketing, and also my research. So if we look at this, we're going to step back into Alvin Tolfer again. And there's this idea of mastering the loop of reinvention. So he made a quote about a decade ago that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And he predicted this a couple of years ago. I mean, a couple of decades ago. No, a decade ago. So this brings us to what does that mean? So to learn, which is fairly common to learn about new roles, new positions, new tools, but the unlearned part. So, as he wrote this, and just so you know, his area of research is in kind of the digital revolution and understanding, how technology would reshape different industries. Today, what we wanted to do is we wanted to look at if we are meant to adapt from one version of where we are with AI to where we could be in the next couple months. This loop isn't a one time idea, it's a process, it's a lifelong rhythm to kind of keep you going and keep adapting. Now, as we start to go through this process, a lot of those that are already in the industry may find some of these things challenging because it's something you've done for maybe 10, 20 years. So we have to remember that if you are rigid in your thought, you will find that the adoption to unlearn and relearn will become more challenging. In the world that changes daily, this rigid mind becomes obsolete. Intelligence now lies in adaptability and the willingness to let go of what no longer fits. Learning is not enough anymore. We must also have the humility to unlearn what we once believed was true. Are you evolving with the times or clinging to the past? And when we venture into a tool like AI and the evolution that is happening so quickly, we want to think back to these three steps. So, what I did is I put these steps into the idea of enhancing business skills if you're currently in the business, or if there's an industry you're looking into, how do you approach this? So, enhancing your business skills in AI isn't about learning everything, it's about learning what matters and unlearning what holds you back. So, in this process, the idea first in learning is just looking at the different tools that are currently out there. Start looking at the tools that your company uses, because within the company, you will also have a membership and you will be able to get some of the certification you can only get if you are using the tools. Try some test projects, see how it performs, and track your performance. Then going into unlearn. So this is replacing these outdated processes. Audit your workflow, see what seems repetition, manual tasks that maybe AI could help you out with. Then going into the relearn. So this is the agility to future-proof your career. So that means that what was may not be now. So look at the AI features and industry trends, apply AI to impact areas that you feel that maybe the new advances could help you. A lot of times it's in those manual tasks. Now, if you are going into the industry or a new industry, you also want to be able to spot the trends and new things that are happening within an industry that maybe you are not currently in. So I highly suggest of looking at mentors. You can go on LinkedIn and kind of see who is using these tools that work for a company that you are also looking to be part of. Then this idea of unlearning. It's also important when you're doing research on these companies to see what tools had they been using to what tools they are using now. And looking at this, you also want to look at what are the new tools that you should be learning. So you want to measure how these tools could be used, whether you're going into marketing or management or finance. All of this will kind of come to play when you start to learn more about the daily tasks that are happening. And this is also where internship is key. So as we look to adopting into this AI era, we want to break this down to the rules of staying relevant as they constantly keep changing. New tools, new skills, new expectations. And this is forcing us to reshape how we work, think, and make decisions. In this environment, adapting means picking up a few new skills. It's about developing a mindset, the agility to keep learning and unlearning, and over and over. As we look at the career equation, what does that mean? What does the career, what are they asking for? What are the skill sets that they're looking for? So as we start to think about this, we want to embrace this being adaptive, creative, and also understanding the new technology that exists. And we mentioned before in regards to the World Economic Forum about these skills. So 39% of the skills that currently are being used are going to be outdated by 2030. So what does this mean? Nearly half of today's global workforce will need to adapt to new requirements, creating and pressing need for upskilling, which is this lifelong kind of learning. Employees are already responding to greater value by these skill sets, and this is something that companies are looking for. So, the World Economic Forum job report that came out in January of 2025 sheds a little light on this definition of professional success. It's no longer about the technical expertise, but about traditional qualifications. But now it's about this idea of embracing adaptable and technology, being technology fluent, and the creativity in regards to transforming by this innovation of AI. Nearly half of today's global workforce will need to adapt to new requirements. This is going to be a massive shift. It's going to be feeling this demand for this long life learning as again. So, as we look at the report, the World Economic Forum, which is available online, by the way, the first thing you want to see is that analytical thinking is at the top, which is this kind of innovation as well. As AI and this automation shift to human work towards interpreting complex data and identifying patterns faster, as well as creating solutions, also brings in this idea, which you'll see at number 4, which is this creative thinking, which kind of ties together. I think those were the two top ones, as well as innovation, which into this world of critical thinking that we talked about before. So, as we now look at critical thinking a little bit deeper, this is this idea of generating answers, but not just surface, but deeper. It's not just that using AI tools is going to give us the better questions. It's that we have to ask the better questions with the better results by prompting and looking at different areas and cross-referencing. This also goes into this interdisciplinary idea of critical thinking is kind of separating us from this hype of everybody wants to use this into this idea of making decisions and using AI, but using them as a partner. So, as you go into critical thinking, just remember this allows both individuals as well as a collaborative group to look at and navigate complex challenges and reach a unbiased conclusion together. It involves basically the disciplined finding the problem, examining the evidence, and questioning assumptions. As we look at this, we want to think also about this will enable us to define the solutions, not only by what AI has given you, but also what you have self-discovered. And this is something that I have definitely already seen enough business plans that have been put through chat without the critical thinking. So At South by Southwest this last March, one of the big topics around AI was what was the talent, the next talent that we were going to be looking for. So the next war on talent was, um, is this something that the skill sets that are going to be looking for or something that's going to be found in your resume, or does this go a lot deeper? And the answer is yes, it goes a lot deeper. It's learning, applying, and mastering. AI is a game changer, but it's really how you're going to adapt yourself, creating opportunity for yourself and learning within all these different industries that we've kind of went over a little bit. But the idea around this lecture was, where do you start? How do you start to learn AI? And really, it's going back to this idea of critical thinking, also going into where do you start to learn? How do you get proficient within the skill sets? And I think this is a great start for you to kind of go back and look, especially during this presentation, of some of the cues that I put up there, where to start. So as we move forward, remember this, your ability to adapt will set you apart. Future proofing your skills by committing to this kind of learn, unlearn, relearn cycle is challenging. Above all, to make critical thinking your superpower. It what turns AI tools just into the results. The future belongs to those who are ready to reinvent. I want to wrap this up moving forward. Um, Please be sure to reach out if you have any questions. But thank you so much for your time and take care.